Jake Paul's boxing career might be hanging by a thread after what could be the most disastrous moment of his time in the ring. On September 8, 2024, a supposedly casual sparring session with Mike Tyson turned into a nightmare for Paul when a brutal rib injury sent him to the hospital. While knockouts and injuries are common in boxing, a broken rib might be the final straw for Jake Paul, whose boxing persona has always been under scrutiny. This rib injury could end his career for good, especially considering the level of intensity the doctors have reported. Either it's a convenient excuse to back out of upcoming fights, or Jake is truly in pain for the first time. Let's rewind. Jake Paul, known more for his social media antics than his boxing prowess, decided to spar with Mike Tyson. For most fighters, facing a legend like Tyson in the ring is a rare opportunity. But for Jake, this session was meant to be light, just a bit of fun, some punches thrown, and probably a couple of Instagram stories afterward. But things quickly spiraled out of control. Tyson, despite being a 57-year-old retired fighter, still packs a punch that can leave anyone reeling. And Jake, who wasn't exactly in top shape that day, found himself on the wrong end of a clean hit from Tyson. The aftermath was immediate. Jake hit the canvas, clutching his side as the pain from his broken rib radiated through his body. His team rushed him to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, where doctors confirmed the injury. According to Dr. Jonathan Gelber, a specialist in sports medicine, a broken rib is no joke. It could take weeks or even months to heal. Worse yet, for a boxer, it could be career-ending if not handled carefully. Jake Paul, always the brash, confident talker, is now facing a harsh reality that his boxing dreams might have just shattered along with his rib. When the news of Jake's injury broke, the internet went wild. Social media lit up with speculation and jokes about how Jake Paul finally got what was coming to him. Some even suggested that Tyson deliberately went hard on Jake to teach him a lesson after all the trash talk. But experts like Freddie Roach quickly shut down these rumors, stating that Tyson wasn't trying to hurt Jake. Roach noted that Mike was just doing his thing, but Jake wasn't prepared physically or mentally for what Tyson brought to the session. Jake wasn't ready, Roach said bluntly, summarizing what many in the boxing world had already suspected. As Jake's condition worsened, his chances of stepping back into the ring seemed to fade. In a moment of clarity or perhaps desperation, Jake took to social media to inform his fans that he was in the hospital. The image of Jake lying in a hospital bed was a far cry from the confident, trash-talking persona he had cultivated. Fans who had once rallied behind him began to wonder if this was truly the end of Jake Paul's boxing journey. His detractors, meanwhile, had a field day, mocking his injury and questioning whether he ever belonged in the sport to begin with. But the story doesn't end with Jake's injury. The sparring session with Tyson wasn't just a physical test, it was a mental one too. Leading up to the session, Jake had been running his mouth as usual, calling Tyson old and outdated, like a boxer who had long left his prime behind. Jake even went so far as to say Tyson couldn't keep up with today's fighters, implying that he would have no trouble handling the former champ in the ring. However, anyone who's seen Tyson train knows that the man, even in his 50s, is still a force to be reckoned with. And in the sparring session, Tyson's punch proved just that. Jake's downfall isn't just about the physical injury, it's about his attitude. His trash talking has been relentless, targeting everyone from Tyson to Canelo Alvarez to Conor McGregor. He's built a persona around being the brash, fearless underdog, willing to take on anyone. But now, after the injury, it's clear that his mouth might have written checks his body couldn't cash. Tyson wasn't trying to hurt Jake on purpose, but when you walk into the ring unprepared and start throwing shade at a legend, you're bound to pay the price. Adding to the drama, Tyson wasn't even going full throttle. Reports from inside the gym suggest that Tyson was pulling his punches, treating the session more like a warm-up than an actual fight. But Jake's lack of conditioning and focus made him vulnerable. Tyson landed a clean shot and Jake's rib gave out. The blow was enough to send Jake to the hospital, but not before the boxing world exploded with reactions. Canelo Alvarez and Conor McGregor, two fighters Jake had repeatedly called out, wasted no time in roasting him after the injury. Canelo, whom Jake had challenged just weeks before, took to social media with a simple yet brutal message. "Oof, that's gotta hurt." McGregor, never one to miss a trolling opportunity, joined in with a post suggesting that Jake should rematch the hospital bed after he recovers. These two champions were clearly enjoying Jake's misfortune, and their taunts only added salt to the wound. The injury isn't just a physical setback for Jake, it's a reality check. His entire boxing career has been built on hype, trash talk, and carefully selected opponents who, for the most part, were never serious threats. Jake fought former basketball player Nate Robinson, retired MMA fighter Ben Askren, and aging UFC star Tyron Woodley, none of whom pose any real danger in the boxing ring. His bouts have been more spectacle than sport, with Jake using his platform to stir up controversy and draw in fans. Even Stephen A. Smith, who once praised Jake for bringing attention to boxing, has started to change his tune. "If you've lost Stephen A., you've lost just about everyone," one commentator remarked. Smith had always been supportive of Jake's efforts to elevate boxing's popularity, but after the injury, he's begun to question whether Jake was ever truly serious about the sport. "You're beating up on guys who aren't boxers," Smith said. "Jake's whole thing was a gimmick, and now it's falling apart." Jake's injury and the subsequent fallout have left many wondering if he'll ever step into the ring again. His broken rib will take time to heal, but the real question is whether his career can recover. Boxing is an unforgiving sport, and while Jake was able to carve out a niche for himself, the injury might be a sign that his time in the ring is over. Fighters like Ricky Hatton and others have tried to return from devastating injuries, only to find that they couldn't recapture the magic. Jake might be facing the same harsh reality much sooner than he anticipated. While Jake dreams of redemption and a triumphant comeback, the truth is clear. This injury could mark the end of his boxing career. His story, once built on hype and social media savvy, is starting to unravel. The knockdown and trip to the hospital have exposed the cracks in Jake's carefully constructed image, and now he must confront the possibility that he was never cut out for this sport. In the end, Jake Paul's journey in boxing may have been more about entertainment than athletic achievement. The rib injury he sustained in sparring with Mike Tyson is just the latest and possibly final blow to a career that was built on bravado. Whether Jake can recover from this setback remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the boxing world is moving on without him. As the sport's biggest names continue to shine, Jake's once bright star is fading fast. Asterisk, asterisk, what do you think? Is Jake Paul's boxing career officially over, or can he make a comeback? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Asterisk, asterisk.